The boardroom door clicked shut behind me like a trap snapping into place. There was only one chair waiting at the long mahogany table, and Harlan Reed occupied the head like a judge about to pass sentence. He didn't stand, didn't offer a handshake, just folded his hands over a slim envelope and fixed me with that practiced, neutral stare, the kind that said he'd rehearsed this in the mirror. "Elena," he began, voice smooth as polished stone, "we're streamlining operations at the senior level. Market pressures. You understand. Your role's being adjusted." He pushed the envelope across the table, and I opened it without a word. The new compensation package stared back, a 55% slash. Not a trim, not an adjustment, a gut punch disguised as corporate necessity. My stomach twisted, but I kept my face blank. Then came the hook. "We're mindful of your family commitments. Your son's starting at Stanford soon. Right? These choices aren't easy, but practicality matters. We need your decision by Friday." It wasn't a threat. Not overtly. But the implication hung there like smoke. Fold or watch your kid's future crumble under debt. I closed the envelope slowly, letting the silence stretch until it felt uncomfortable even for him. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, San Francisco's fog rolled in over the bay, muting the skyline. Something cold settled in my chest, not fear, but resolve, sharpening like a blade. "I'll review it," I said evenly, standing without another glance. Harlan's eyes narrowed, but he said nothing as I left, the envelope tucked under my arm like a trophy I had no intention of claiming. By the time I hit the elevator, my pulse was steady, but my mind raced ahead, mapping the terrain I'd navigated for years at Apex Dynamics. Harlan thought he held the high ground, but he didn't know the landscape like I did. I'd been the architect of our breakthrough in renewable energy grids, the one who turned vague federal incentives into multi-million-dollar grants. The compliance frameworks that unlocked EPA partnerships? Mine. The late-night negotiations with regulators that kept our projects greenlit while competitors stalled? All me. I'd built the bridges they walked across, and now they wanted to burn one while expecting me to rebuild it for pennies. That evening, in my quiet apartment overlooking the Golden Gate, I poured a scotch and sat at my desk, the city lights flickering like distant warnings. My son, Alex, was out with friends, oblivious to the storm brewing. I'd shielded him from the grind, the way Apex had slowly eroded my edges with endless demands and zero recognition. But Harlan's jab about Stanford, it lit a fuse. Not panic, but purpose. I opened my laptop, not the company one, and drafted a simple message to an old contact. "Is the conversation we had last quarter still open?" The recipient was Marissa Kane, CEO of Nexus Renewables, our sharpest rival. She'd approached me discreetly at a clean energy summit months ago, whispering over cocktails, "If Apex ever undervalues you again, call me." Her reply pinged back in under 10 minutes. "Absolutely. Coffee tomorrow?" Off the record. I leaned back, the scotch burning warm in my throat. The next morning, before the sun fully crested the hills, I filed for an LLC, something unassuming. Elena Green Strategies. A vessel for independent consulting. No files copied. No data lifted. Everything vital was etched in my memory from years of solo deep dives. Apex didn't own my expertise. They'd just rented it cheap. Harlan's miscalculation wasn't just financial, it was personal. Assuming my motherhood made me pliable. He didn't see the steel beneath. For 3 years, I'd been Apex's silent engine. It started with a whisper from a DOE insider. They're prioritizing smart grid integrations for urban resilience. I pitched it upstairs. Got dismissed as too speculative. But I persisted, reshaping our existing tech stack into something that fit the Fed's vision like a glove. Meeting after meeting, I decoded bureaucratic jargon, anticipated roadblocks, and turned maybe into signed MOUs. The $150 million in grants that followed, they paraded it as a team win. But Harlan claimed the spotlight in earnings calls. His name on the press releases while mine lingered in appendices. I let it go then. Focused on the impact, the cleaner cities, the stable power for hospitals during blackouts. But resentment simmered, a low hum beneath the surface. The boardrooms where I was introduced as our compliance specialist, the budget sessions where my contributions got asterisked. I fixed their messes, the audit that nearly derailed a key project because someone in legal skimmed the fine print. I was the one on calls with Washington at 2 a.m., smoothing over discrepancies with data I'd prepped alone. Harlan had connections from golf outings. I had trust earned in the trenches. And yet, I stayed, loyal to the mission, to the team I'd mentored, until that envelope, until he weaponized my son's future. That crossed into territory where loyalty evaporated. Back home, I watched Alex pack for a campus visit, his excitement palpable. "Mom, you think we'll swing the tuition without loans?" he asked casually. I smiled, masking the fire inside. "We'll make it work." But in my mind, the pieces were aligning. Apex's pipeline hinged on renewals I'd orchestrated, documents bearing my signature as the continuity lead. Without me, those threads would unravel quietly. No sabotage needed, just absence. The cafe Marissa chose was tucked in a quiet corner of Oakland, away from prying eyes. She arrived in jeans and a blazer. No entourage, just a tablet and a knowing smile. I heard whispers about Apex's restructuring, their loss. We talked for 2 hours. Not about grudges, but potential. By the end, she outlined a consulting gig through my LLC, triple the pay cut Harlan offered. Full autonomy. Credit on deliverables. "No shadows here," she said. "You lead. We follow." I didn't commit on the spot, but the drive back felt lighter, the fog lifting as possibilities sharpened. Harlan's email arrived that afternoon. Confirming receipt? I ignored it, letting the silence speak. Apex was about to learn what happens when you push the wrong lever. The office hummed with its usual rhythm the next day, but I moved through it like a ghost, observing the cracks I'd long ignored. Colleagues nodded hello, oblivious to the shift inside me. In my cubicle, yes, a VP with a cubicle, because Apex prioritized open collaboration over dignity, I reviewed pending projects without touching a key. The federal smart grid renewal loomed, a $75 million beast I'd tamed with custom compliance maps. Harlan's team assumed it was locked in, but I knew the DOE's auditors were sticklers for personnel continuity. My name was woven into every assurance form, every audit trail. Without updates from me, it would flag red. Not malice, just reality. That night, Alex came home buzzing from practice. "Coach says Stanford scouts might show." I hugged him, the weight of Harlan's words echoing. Practicality matters. It fueled me. I opened my personal email and formalized the LLC's first contract outline. Nothing binding yet, just a framework. Marissa's follow-up arrived. Draft attached. Flexible start. I scanned it, ironclad, with a clause for interference penalties if Apex meddled. Perfect. By Thursday, whispers started at Apex. A junior analyst pinged me. "DOE query on the renewal, need your sign-off?" I replied vaguely, handling it, but I wasn't. Let them chase. Harlan called a quick stand-up, his voice tighter than usual. "Status on Fed pipelines?" Eyes darted to me, but I stayed silent, sipping coffee. He moved on, but the tension lingered. Friday's deadline came and went without my response. Harlan's assistant emailed. Follow-up. Ignored. Instead, I met Marissa at a neutral hotel lounge in Berkeley. She didn't waste time. We're expanding into coastal resilience tech, your wheelhouse. Let it under your LLC. Full attribution. The offer was solid. Base plus bonuses tied to milestones I'd define. I signed, the pen gliding like liberation. Welcome aboard, she said with a grin. Apex won't know what hit them. Driving home. My phone buzzed. Apex HR. Urgent. Compensation decision? I archived it. The game had flipped. Over the weekend, I cleared my personal effects from the office after hours. No fanfare. Monday morning, I emailed my resignation, effective immediately. No notice. Harlan's reply was swift. We need to discuss. Call me. I didn't. The DOE rejection landed like a quiet bomb 2 days later. Hold pending personnel verification. Not a full denial, but a stall that kills momentum. Apex's Slack exploded with confusion. Harlan barked orders in all caps. Who has the continuity docs? No one did. Not fully. I'd been the keeper. Panic rippled. Stock dipped 3%. Investors murmured. Marissa texted. Heard the news. Your timing's impeccable. I smiled, focusing on Alex's college essay. Mom, you seem lighter, he noted. Just clearer, I replied. Apex scrambled, assigning a new lead who fumbled the basics. Harlan called my cell voicemail. Elena, this is bigger than egos. Call back. Deleted. Nexus announced a new grant win, mirroring Apex's stalled one. Whispers in industry chats. Former Apex strategist? My LLC stayed low-key, but results spoke. Apex's board grilled Harlan. Why the continuity gap? He deflected, but sweat showed. I built Nexus's framework from home. Emails flying to regulators I'd charmed for years. They responded warmly. Trust transferred seamlessly. Alex got his Stanford acceptance. We celebrated with takeout. No loans looming. Harlan's pressure had backfired, forging my escape. As Apex's Q2 projections tanked, I sipped tea on my balcony, watching the bay. Silence was my sharpest tool. Weeks blurred into a rhythm of quiet triumph. At Nexus, I worked remotely, diving into projects with the freedom Apex never allowed. Marissa respected my input. No micromanaging. No credit grabs. The first milestone hit, a $50 million EPA nod for our grid tech. My name on the release. Bold as daylight. Industry buzz grew. LinkedIn endorsements poured in from contacts I'd nurtured. Apex, meanwhile, spiraled. Their renewal got a formal, incomplete code for fix it or fold. Harlan's emails turned pleading. Consulting opportunity? Ignored. The board ousted a VP scapegoat. But the rot was deeper. Stock slid another 7%. Analysts cited key talent loss. I didn't gloat, just delivered. Alex started orientation. His excitement mirrored my relief. Thanks for making this possible, Mom. I hugged him tight. One evening, a former colleague messaged, they're auditing everything. Harlan's on thin ice. I replied neutrally, wish them well. But inside, satisfaction bloomed. Nexus's gala invite arrived, black tie in DC. I attended. Marissa introducing me as our secret weapon. Regulators shook my hand. Glad you're here. Across the room, Harlan lurked, face ashen. Our eyes met. He approached stiffly. Elena, can we talk? I smiled politely. Enjoy the evening. Walked away. His world shrank as mine expanded. Back home, Apex's leak hit. Internal memo admitting strategic missteps. Stock plummeted 12%. Harlan's LinkedIn updated, seeking new challenges. I forwarded to Marissa. Full circle. Her reply, you earned this. Alex thrived at Stanford. I visited, pride swelling. Apex pivoted desperately to consumer tech. But grants dried up. My LLC flourished, contracts rolling in. Harlan faded into obscurity. A cautionary tale. Silence echoed louder than vengeance. The unraveling accelerated. Subtle, at first, then relentless. Nexus secured another Fed contract. $100 million for resilient infrastructure, work I'd pioneered at Apex. Press mentioned pivotal consultant. My LLC linked discreetly. Apex's investors bailed, citing instability. Harlan's attempts to spin faltered. His calls to contacts went unanswered. They'd shifted allegiance. One rainy afternoon, Alex called. Mom, tuition's covered, how? I laughed. Smart moves. Truth was, bonuses from Nexus sealed it. Harlan's leverage had become my launchpad. At a conference, I spoke on compliance strategies. Applause thundered. Harlan attended virtually, his chat questions ignored. Apex filed for restructuring. Layoffs looming. I mentored a Nexus intern, passing the torch. Home felt fuller, art classes, weekends free. A final email from Harlan. Regrets. Deleted. Nexus promoted my role. Visibility soared. Apex became a footnote. Harlan a ghost. In the quiet, I reflected. Underestimation's cost is steep. Months later, the dust settled into a new normal. Nexus thrived. My contributions celebrated. Alex aced midterms. Debt-free. I stood on a hill overlooking the city. Wind whipping my hair. Feeling the weight lifted. Harlan's empire had crumbled not from malice, but neglect his own. The industry whispered lessons. Value your architects. Or watch them rebuild elsewhere. I didn't seek revenge. It found them naturally. But the question lingered. How many more endure in silence, waiting for their moment to rise? In the end, it's not about the fall, it's about who stands taller after.